What's good, big dogs? You know what time it is. We're here for another video, for a solo video today. And honestly, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I took some inspiration from Nick last week. He put out a video that I really liked. I hope you guys really liked it. He talked about Mel Kiper's mock draft. It is mock draft season. It's time for us to kind of look at where some of these rookies are going to be going in the NFL draft so we can prepare for our rookie drafts. So in inspiration from Nick, we're going to be talking about Daniel Jeremiah's 3.0 mock draft today and kind of talk about how these fits are going to impact Dynasty fantasy football drafts. So without wasting any more time, let's hop right into today's video. But you guys know what we have to do first. Let's tuck those shirts in, baby. All right, you guys see it on the screen right now, so let's just hop right into the 101. The Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams. Did we expect anything different? I don't think so at this point. We've seen Justin Fields get traded. He is now a Pittsburgh Steeler. That issue is now out of the wheelhouse for them. We know that Caleb Williams is going to be the quarterback pick here for the Chicago Bears. I've seen people getting cute, thinking about maybe they trade back things. No, it's not happening, guys. If they've traded Justin Fields, they're going Caleb Williams. We don't really got to talk too much more about it. This is a guy who is a very, very, very talented prospect. I like everything about Caleb Williams' game. He's going in the first round, early second round of your Dynasty fantasy football startups right now. He's going to go into a situation where he's throwing to DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, Keenan Allen, has DeAndre Swift, hopefully a improved offensive line and things like that moving into the second year with the draft capital that they have right now. All things point to a good season for Caleb Williams, and there's high expectations, but I think he's going to match those expectations here in Chicago. Now you see here at the number 2 pick, the Washington Commanders select Drake Maye out of North Carolina, and I feel like this is a little bit different than kind of the buzz we've been hearing so far. It feels like, to me, for the most part, I've seen Jayden Daniels being mocked as the number 2 pick, as the guy the Washington Commanders are going to move forward with, more likely than I've been seeing that happen with Drake Maye. So it's a little bit interesting here. You see Drake Maye, he's going to be taking over from Sam Howell. Sam Howell, obviously the North Carolina quarterback as well, gets replaced by Drake Maye when he goes to the NFL, and now Drake Maye comes and replaces him at the NFL level. So lots of interesting storylines here for Drake Maye to the Washington Commanders, but more so Cliff Kingsbury, this air raid offense, Dan Quinn, the new head coach there in Washington. They got a lot of cap space. Curtis Samuel leaves in free agency, but they still have Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, and now they also have Zach Ertz at that tight end position. I don't really know if that's an upgrade from Logan Thomas, but it looks like they're trying to get some more weapons. I expect them to probably add another wide receiver in the draft as well, or even a tight end in the draft as well. I've seen Cade Stover and some other guys get mocked to them. And overall, I think this is a good landing spot for whichever quarterback goes there. I like this landing spot more than the next landing spot we're going to talk about. And that takes us over to number 3, where you see Jayden Daniels goes to the New England Patriots. Now, Daniels, obviously a dual threat type of quarterback. This is a guy who has the rushing upside. He has the passing upside. All of those things combined. 50 touchdowns, 5,000 yards in his senior season there at LSU. This is also a guy who ran for 1,000 yards. Yes, a dual threat quarterback. He gets to go here to New England, and honestly, I don't love this landing spot for New England. I think there's a good chance that they take a quarterback. I also think that they're going to be listening to trade offers. Obviously, in this mock draft, they sit and pick. But to me, this feels like a team that kind of needs to build a little bit more structure around the starting quarterback. Jayden Daniels, obviously a very good quarterback, but I just don't think that there's a lot of weapons for him to rely on here in New England. It feels like he's not going to be set up for success if this is what happens. But we do like the talent of Jayden Daniels, and I think you can trust the talent. But to me, if I was looking at these quarterbacks all in one right now, Jayden Daniels and Drake Maye, they are very similar quarterback prospects to me. I have them in the same tier. The New England landing spot would put Jayden Daniels as my QB3, Drake Maye is my QB2. But if this was swapped, I would actually have it the other way. This type of landing spot is going to be critical for how we are viewing these prospects. And I really do think that New England Patriots offense is going to be a death sentence for whatever quarterback goes there. Not to say that anybody can't be successful, but I think it'll be tough to be successful in New England right now. And then look, man, you guys know I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan. The Minnesota Vikings acquired a second first-round pick not too long ago from the Houston Texans. Everybody says it is because they are trying to trade up and get the quarterback of the future. They do it here. They make a trade with the Arizona Cardinals. And look, you guys know I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan. I've had people in the comments saying, skull, things like that. I appreciate the Vikings love. I also appreciate the Vikings hate in the comments. So if you guys don't like the Vikings, I don't care. Now, I would like to see them move up to number 3. Looks like that doesn't happen. They go to number 4 and they pick J.J. McCarthy, the junior out of Michigan. And Honestly, JJ McCarthy is a quarterback that I feel like has the tools, but he definitely needs to be matured a little bit more as a professional quarterback. I think he's going to need some time to kind of get into a comfortable space at the NFL level. Although this landing spot is more than ideal for whichever rookie quarterback ends up going there, obviously the weapons speak for themselves. Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, Aaron Jones, two great offensive tackles. Like, everything speaks for itself. It's a great landing spot. JJ McCarthy probably will still be the fourth quarterback off the board, despite probably having the best or the second best landing spot, depending on how you view Chicago. But ultimately, I think this would sway the way that we view our rookie drafts moving forward, because you look at JJ McCarthy, and if he gets this type of draft capital, it is going to speak for itself. In your Superflex drafts, we're going to see him fly up boards, probably that 108, 107 type of range. I would even hear an argument if people wanted to take him around the 106 range if you needed a quarterback. That's the type of buzz that I think JJ McCarthy could get. And this is a good fit for JJ McCarthy. I think he can grow in that system, and I think he can have a successful career. But again, a very toolsy type of prospect that needs some work still. We'll see how he develops here in Minnesota. And now that takes us to another trade here. You see that the Los Angeles Chargers, they trade with the New York Jets, and the New York Jets come up to get Marvin Harrison Jr. I think this is super interesting because they already have Garrett Wilson. We know that they wanted another receiving option there in New York. We've seen kind of rumblings of it maybe being Brock Bowers, but they really go out and they take that big swing. They get Marvin Harrison Jr., reunite him with Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall. The offense is looking a little scary. We'll see what happens with Aaron Rodgers as he's a little bit older, recovering from the Achilles. But this feels like a very, very unique landing spot for Marvin Harrison Jr. And honestly, I think if this were to happen, the way that we are viewing Garrett Wilson in the community right now, a guy who's being drafted in the second round of startups, I think Garrett Wilson would see a negative effect on his Dynasty fantasy football stock just because of how highly we are viewing Marvin Harrison Jr. right now. It's hard to see a prospect that we love so much in Garrett Wilson, who is a target volume kind of receiver. He's going to get a weapon like this. That's bad news bears for Garrett Wilson. Not that he can't be successful, but it's definitely going to temper the expectations on him. Marvin Harrison Jr., though, he would be the number one wide receiver here right away. And then you see just below that, number 6 overall, the New York Giants, they go get Malik Nabers. Malik Nabers is a guy that we all have deemed as the wide receiver 2 in this class. At least it seems like that for most people. He can play in the slot. He can play outside. He plays all over the field, and he is a very good route runner, explosive after the catch. A lot of good things to like about Malik Nabers, and we know the New York Giants need receiving options. Right now, we could argue that the best receiving option that they have there in New York is Jalin Hyatt. And even then, is Jalin Hyatt really relevant for fantasy football at all? I'd say probably not right now. And when you look at Daniel Jones as the quarterback of the future, it does seem like with this pick, that means they are moving forward with Daniel Jones as the quarterback of the future, at least for the short term. It does worry me a little bit about the early career of Malik Nabers, because playing with a quarterback like Daniel Jones isn't very great for Malik Nabers. Obviously, I don't think he would see a ton of quality in targets, but I do think he would receive a lot of volume. And obviously, we've seen players like Malik Nabers who are so talented that they can elevate the play of the quarterback, elevate the situation that they're in. I think Malik Nabers is that type of talent. Not that he's going to make Daniel Jones a franchise quarterback by any means, but I think he could get by for year 1 or year 2 until they move on and find the next quarterback of their future. But Malik Nabers, he goes number 6 overall here to the New York Giants. Now that takes us to number 9, where you see the Chicago Bears. They pick Rome Odunze, the wide receiver 3 in this class. If you guys are fans of Matt Harmon's reception perception, he dropped something today on his website for the first 3 wide receivers of this class. We got Marvin Harrison, Malik Nabers, Rome Odunze. Rome Odunze's reception perception profile looks almost identical to Davante Adams' reception perception profile. So Rome Odunze was very impressive in that grading by Matt Harmon, and that shows up on the tape. We like what Rome Odunze does on tape. He is more of a X wide receiver. He is probably not going to be a slot type of guy at the next level, although we've seen guys be big slots at the NFL level. I just don't think that that's Rome Odunze's calling card. But going to the Chicago Bears, he would not have to do that right away. Some of the other wide receivers in this room, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, my gosh, can we talk about one of the best, if not the best wide receiver room in the NFL at this point? Rome Odunze added to that room. It would be incredible for Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. Now, I will say that would kind of temper the expectations for Rome Odunze from a volume or a target share perspective, at least in year 1, because we know Keenan Allen, he's a little bit older, probably doesn't have that many more years under the belt for him here at the NFL level. But Rome Odunze definitely would be the guy there long-term with DJ Moore. And even though year 1, he may be the wide receiver 3 in this offense, I think long term, this is a guy that you're going to want to buy into, and definitely is probably a guy that we're taking in the top 6 of our rookie drafts moving forward. Now you see here at pick 12, the Denver Broncos end up selecting Brock Bowers, tight end out of Georgia. And this would probably be an interesting fit for Brock Bowers because when you look at the receiving options in Denver, they obviously have moved on from Jerry Jeudy. It's Courtland Sutton and Marvin Mims. And we know over the last couple of years, Courtland Sutton has always seemed to be in trade talks, in trade rumors, things like that over the last couple of years. And so could Brock Bowers be the number one receiving option in this offense? He definitely could be, but when you think about who is going to be playing the quarterback position in Denver, that makes things a lot more murky. Right now, we have to assume it's Jarrett Stidham. Going here at pick 12, that means that they're not going to be moving forward with one of the top quarterbacks because we've seen them go earlier in the draft. So that maybe means potential for them to go get a guy like Bo Nix or Michael Penix in the second round, but that's still pushing it, and that's a risk as well. And honestly, the more that you sit here and think about the landing spot, yes, from a target share and a volume perspective, yes, we want tight ends who are going to be the number 1 or the number 2 receiving option on their teams, but the quality of targets and who is going to be playing quarterback also is going to play a major role. It's just not looking very good for the Denver Broncos right now. They may be in a full rebuild, maybe one of the teams that are going to be chasing that number 1 pick in 2025. But still, Brock Bowers, the talent is going to speak for itself. And you still have to believe that this is a guy that's going to be able to elevate your tight end position in those tight end premium leagues, and probably a guy that we're still thinking at the 107 spot, maybe the 108 if you think that JJ McCarthy moves ahead of him with that landing spot. But Brock Bowers still one of the guys that we are looking at very early on in our rookie drafts. And you see here at pick 13, the Las Vegas Raiders, they go Michael Penix Jr. We talked about the Denver Broncos potentially maybe getting a Michael Penix Jr. in the second round. Not anymore. He goes the pick right after them. Michael Penix Jr., this is probably the earliest that I've seen him go in any mock draft so far. He would go to the Las Vegas Raiders, compete with Gardner Minshew, compete with Aiden O'Connell. The draft capital tells me that Michael Penix Jr. is the quarterback of the future for this team. Devontae Adams, Michael Mayer, Jacoby Myers. There's some decent weapons there. I just don't think that Michael Penix really deserves this type of draft capital in this class. To me, he feels more like a late first round, early second round type of pick. But here at pick 13, if Michael Penix were to get this type of draft capital, I think he would fly up boards in your rookie drafts. This is a guy that we would be taking probably 109, 110, 111 range in your rookie drafts, depending on how you feel about some of the other receivers in that tier. But all in all, I think this type of draft capital is unexpected for Michael Penix Jr. I wouldn't bank on this being the situation. I mean, crazier things have happened, but this is a crazy type of pick for the Las Vegas Raiders. And to go the 5th quarterback off the board here at the 13th pick, that feels very risky for Las Vegas moving forward. So we're going to keep it moving. And you see the next pick for a fantasy relevant player is from pick 13 to Michael Penix all the way to pick 23 for Brian Thomas Jr. This is the Arizona Cardinals pick. In that trade where they moved back with the Minnesota Vikings, they went up obviously to get JJ McCarthy. Well, the Arizona Cardinals now get Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver out of LSU. I think this would be a great fit for Kyler Murray. Brian Thomas Jr. is an elite deep threat, a red zone type of target, a guy that is going to be able to kind of grow a little bit more as a route runner at the next level. And you put him here in Arizona where he can play with Kyler Murray. I think he is going to be the number 1 receiving option in this offense almost immediately. And this is ideal draft capital for a guy like Brian Thomas. We expect him to kind of go in this range just based on the combine performance that he had. Obviously, he ran a very good 40. He had a very good combine performance in general. And then you see him breaking touchdown records at LSU and things like that. All of the production adds up. This is the type of draft capital that Brian Thomas would get. And he goes here to Arizona. Like I said, it would be a very good landing spot for him. And I think people would be very excited about this for your rookie drafts. And now here with the last fantasy relevant player in this mock draft, you see we went from pick 23 to pick 32. It is going to be Adonai Mitchell for the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you guys are fans of the BDGE Dynasty channel, you guys know that Nick is going to lose his mind if Adonai Mitchell goes to the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, he loves Adonai Mitchell. We like Adonai Mitchell on the channel. There's a lot of things to like about his game. We see the shades of CeeDee Lamb, some of these other things that we've seen in his game that really stand out on the film. But putting him here in a situation with the Kansas City Chiefs where he would go play with Rashee Rice, he would play with Hollywood Brown, who is on a 1-year contract. Adonai Mitchell, a first-round wide receiver going there. I think Adonai Mitchell could be in the conversation for the most talented wide receiver in that room from day one. People are going to lose their mind, and I think that if this were to happen, Adonai Mitchell, first-round draft capital, after getting some of the comparisons to CeeDee Lamb, putting him with Patrick Mahomes, people will go nuts. He's going to go in that 108, 109 type of range probably for your Superflex rookie drafts, and People are going to say that that's an overreaction, but I think that's kind of where we have all kind of expected him to go. I mean, on this channel, there's people who have him as wide receiver 4 in the class. Adam and I kind of have him around 5, 6-ish range, depending on how you view Troy Franklin and Brian Thomas Jr. But that's going to put him in the back half of the first round, just in a normal landing spot. You get him going to Kansas City, he's probably going to move up just a little bit more. People will get excited. And Adonai Mitchell going to the Kansas City Chiefs is going to be French kiss. People are going to love it for fantasy football. I will love it for fantasy football. And that is something to be very excited about. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, that was a little bit of a shorter video for you guys today. But like I said, it is mock draft season. We want to talk about landing spots. We're getting a little bit closer. I think we're about 30 days out from the NFL draft. So very excited for that. Very excited for the rookie process to continue unfolding in front of our faces. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. It is the best free way to show this channel some support. If you guys want to watch some additional Dynasty content, you like what I do here on the BDGE channel, you want to watch some of my personal stuff, support me on my personal channel, go follow it at the League FFB. You guys can find that over on YouTube. And like I said, like, subscribe, comment, do all the YouTube things. You guys know what to do. We'll see you on the next one. Peace out.